As you journey through life and you reach your 20s and 30s, you start to realize that pain is going to come for us all. It's just a matter of time. Sometimes we may experience the burden of emotional and mental pain, and other times, like we spoke about last week, we will experience physical pain. Today, we'll be having a family discussion on mental and emotional pain. You heard a little bit of my story last week about my experience with physical pain, but I also fully empathize with this aspect of emotional pain as well. I have experienced both deep depression as well as a lot of loss in my life, including my incredible dad, who I spoke a little bit about in a previous video. Sometimes emotional pain is harder to remedy and explain to others compared to physical pain. This is not always the case, but a lot of the time it is. I found myself a few years ago stuck in not a few years ago. I found myself in this place last year. I found myself stuck in a very, very deep hole of depression multiple times actually over the last 7 years. Even this year, I was in a pretty bad place at one point because of both grief and also life situations. So I know the tangible feeling of hopelessness, anxiety, and desperation. I will be exploring in this video some of the life lessons that have really helped me not only cope, but learn a lot. And this is alongside extreme emotional pain, loss, a journey through grief that I'm honestly still stumbling through, and also experience with certain kinds of abuse. My first lesson is learning how to allow my pain to have purpose. That's not easy. Like the quote I shared last week by Catherine Wolfe, I've learned that I have a choice if I'm going to use my pain for purpose or my pain to be stuck. During the absolute worst seasons of my life, there has been immense personal growth, and that's been a choice, especially in my capacity of compassion for others. I can now recognize certain behaviors, coping mechanisms, signs of certain situations because I've walked through them. I know that if I hadn't been exposed to certain situations in my life that were pretty bad and pretty ugly, I would probably either be more judgmental, like I even spoke about last week, or I'd be completely oblivious that it was even happening to someone else. In everything we go through in life, good, bad, and ugly, there will be at least one lesson that we can take away that is going to help us grow as a person. Be open to what a difficult season in your life can ultimately teach you. It doesn't always take the pain away, but it does give the pain some kind of purpose. It's not easy, and it's definitely a change of mindset to how we probably naturally want to run from pain, and we want to also shut ourselves completely off. And probably we want to indulge in everything that we feel because we're hurt and we're in pain. Maybe for you, it's learning to set stronger boundaries in your life, which is healthy. I know for me, that was a big thing that I had to learn. Or perhaps going through what you just went through, you're learning the different signs of emotional and mental abuse so that you can stop it or you can run before it takes hold. My second lesson for dealing with emotional pain is actually learning how to come for others. You'll be able to relate to people so much more if you've got the t-shirt, you got the key ring, you have the mug, after going through a particular life situation. They're far more eager to hear from someone who's been through it, who understands, who can empathize, not just sympathize, empathize. There's a famous verse in the Bible, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 3-4, I believe, which talks about going through troubles and tragedy, but through it experiencing God's comfort so that we can actually go out and know how to come for others. So let me give you an example. It wasn't until I felt the weight of losing a parent that I can now get down in the dark, dark hole of grief and loss alongside others going through similar pain. For those of you who have been through really deep loss, you will know that most of the time it doesn't require people to give you flowery phrases, stuff that you read on a Hallmark card. But yet a lot of people still say those things to make themselves feel better. My favorite of those phrases that makes me literally want to punch someone in the face is "time is a healer." Oh my gosh. Do you know how many times people casually used to throw that out at me? Days, weeks, months after I lost my dad. That is literally the last thing you should be saying to anyone. Time is not a healer, actually. Time does not take away the grief. Through time, we get better at perhaps walking with the grief and walking with the loss, but it doesn't take it away. It doesn't heal it and make it go away. So many people used to tell me, time is a healer. You'll be fine. But you know what? Most of those people, if not all of those people, have never been through the type of grief, the type of loss of losing a parent or a close loved one. For those of you who have, you will know that words bring little comfort during those crushing moments of life. What matters is the people who sit down with you in silence, comfort you without having to say all the right words, who let you know that they are there, and who regularly let you know that they are there and they will always be there. People also who check in, not to make themselves feel better and give them a pat on the back, but who actually legitimately want to know how you are, even if there's a chance you're not going to answer them back. I also learned from this that every bereavement or emotional pain is completely different. Just because you lost a dad too doesn't mean that we experience the same things. But I can still show empathy and compassion in the ways that really matter to people that I know have been through incredible loss. It's all about allowing emotional pain to shape your heart in a way where you might be one of the very few people who get it and can go out and comfort someone who desperately needs it. The third lesson is echoing a little bit of what I said last week, and that is learning when you need to seek help from a professional. No one seems to really have a problem going to the hospital when you've broken a leg, right? So why does it take so long for us to go get professional help when we have a broken heart? Or maybe we have a mind so full of pain and anxiety that we can actually function. Why should it be different? I say it shouldn't. I am someone who suppressed my grief from losing my dad for a long time because I was trying to do everything for everyone else. I was trying to help my family. I was trying to support my mom. I did not take the time to process my own grief when I should have. And now you best believe that is the one thing I tell anyone I meet who has been through grief, because I went through it and I did it the wrong way. And I don't want someone else to go and do the same mistakes that I did, because I opened myself up to years and years of work and healing because of what I did in the first year. I definitely needed help, and I believe anyone who has been through incredible loss should go and see someone and talk it out. There was even other emotionally distressing situations happening at the same time, which made it for me so much worse. And I think it made me close off my feelings of grief even more, because I was trying to also deal with other things and other people. And actually, I should have just taken the time to say, no, you handle your own issues. I'm going to be over here and I'm going to handle mine. I actually ended up pushing my grief so far down that I ended up giving myself physically broken heart syndrome. That I went through scans and tests. They told me that my heart was not electrically working right. It was firing kind of off. And it was because of huge emotional stress and sadness. Maybe if I had gone to counseling before, I wouldn't have gotten so sick a year later. I wish I had put my mental and emotional health first. That would have been the right thing to do. I was using the role within my family and other relationships to cope by helping everyone else first. I thought when everyone else was okay, then I'd be okay. And if there's one thing that counseling has taught me, that this is a mindset I've had since I was a little girl, and actually it's wrong. I can be okay even when other people are not okay. And they can be okay when I'm not okay. Recently, a friend of mine has unfortunately had to go through the loss of a parent as well. And I don't know if he's watching this, but I was so proud of him when he told me that he had already taken himself to counseling. That I could actually cry because of how courageous and brave that is, especially when things are still for him so raw. I wish someone had told me early on that grief counseling was a must and not a maybe. Talking therapy works. For whatever emotional issues you are dealing with, it will help. I cannot champion it or recommend it enough, honestly. And I'm sure throughout the next years, you will hear me talking about how much I think it's important for everyone to go to therapy at least once. Because you really do get to know yourself in a whole another way. I've had to change a lot of my thinking and my perspectives over the last year after having been to counseling like every week for almost a year. My biggest tip, however, is to find a counselor or a therapist or a professional, whoever, that you can talk to. Don't try to talk to someone that you just don't feel comfortable with or you don't vibe with. That will not help. It's really important to find someone that you feel like you can trust and you can open up to. Without repeating what I said in the last video, emotionally I found myself at some point in the last 7 years in a very dangerous place, where not only the physical pain that we discussed last week, but the emotional pain was so heavy that I could have easily ended my life. My faith in Jesus is the one thing that gave me this unexplainable and, quite frankly, irrational peace that did not make sense. He walked me through it. He walked me through some of my darkest nights, as well as giving me the strength to actually go see someone in a professional capacity. Again, if you need help, there are people in every country who are there to help you and who want to help you. I will once again put down below in the description links to international websites where you can call, message, write, whatever, to people who are there 24/7 to help you. You are not alone, and you do not have to suffer in silence. I tried that for a long time, and I made things so much worse for myself. I know some of you who are watching this don't share the same faith as me or outlook as me, and that's okay. I welcome everyone here, but I really do believe that there is a God who loves you and walks with you through the most painful moments of your life, whether you can see him in it or not. I don't know why some of us have to go through such intense pain. I wish I did, but I do believe in my whole heart that there is purpose on the other side of it. And oftentimes the choice is in our hands whether we embrace that purpose or not. Thank you for choosing to hang out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.